Hello and a warm welcome to Munich International School's virtual open day live from our MIS studio here at MIS. We're delighted that so many of you are joining us for our session today for almost every continent in the world, and we're happy to show you some more information today. My name is Suzanne, and together with Denise and Julie, I work in the admissions office. Today we have an exciting program for you. First of all, you get the opportunity to meet our head of school, Mr. Timothy Thomas, followed by an introduction from our principal, Michelle Yuhas, who will be interviewing also two teachers at MIS, and followed by an interview with one of our current grade 8 students, David Reichenberger. At the end, it's possible that we will answer your questions in our Q&A. So during our session, we would ask you to, if you have any questions, to fill them out in our chat function so that we will be able to answer them at the end of the session today. So first of all, we will be introducing Mr. Tim Thomas, our head of school here at MIS. Welcome, Tim.
Hi. How are you, Susan?
I'm doing well. First of all, for all of our viewers, would you perhaps introduce yourself?
Yes, sure. So my name is Tim Thomas, and I'm the head of school here at Munich International School. I'm privileged to be now for my 9th year here at MIS. I really enjoy the work here, and I come from the United States of America originally.
Okay. Maybe for those of us, of the viewers that are not familiar with the IB World Curriculum, would you be able to elaborate a little bit on it?
Yep, sure. So we are an IB continuum school, and that means that we teach the IB's programs in every grade level of the school. So we have the primary years program, the PYP, that begins in early childhood and goes through grade 4. We then have the middle years program, the MYP, that goes from grade 5 to grade 10. And then we have the IB diploma program, which is the last 2 years of a child's experience at our school, and that's grade 11 and 12. And then students complete their education at our school by receiving the high school diploma, which is one of the qualifications, but additionally the IB diploma, which is a qualification that is recognized around the world, including in Germany, as the Allgemeine Hochschulreife, that allows students to go to university in almost any country of the world.
That sounds fantastic. Recently, MIS introduced a new strategic plan. Could you elaborate a little bit on the main focus points and so what families can expect in the next few years?
Yeah, sure. So a very big part of the new plan has to do with relevance and connections to the real world. So we are very interested in having a curriculum where students recognize that the things that they're learning are really important and vital and relevant to their lives today, and also to the lives they'll lead as adults. So a big part of the plan is looking at every aspect of the curriculum and trying to decide how we make it as important and as relevant to the students as possible. As part of that, we're also looking into the future and we're developing new curricula. For example, we're looking very closely at literacy and information technology and looking at how those are integrated from age 4 all the way up to grade 12 and ensuring that the students are experiencing a coherent curriculum that develops over time and helps them to use, for example, facts, information, and technology in a very sophisticated and informed way.
That's great. On our middle school building, it reads so nicely, nurture, challenge, and inspire. So how is that reflected in the curriculum that we offer?
Sure. Well, I think nurture is the first word, and that's there on purpose first. And you see nurture right away when you look at the way that teachers are interacting with students. So in order for students to be able to learn optimally, we think they have to feel supported by their teachers. And being supported means that they're seen, respected, and valued for who they are. That means that teachers have to get to know their students and understand their needs. And it also means that teachers are working collaboratively with their students to set up a classroom environment in which optimal learning can take place. So I think this is something that you see across the school, is that teachers take time to get to know their students, and then they structure what they're doing around the needs of those particular students. And when students feel that kind of support that they get from their teachers, then they're ready for the challenge and for the inspiration. And as we see, they then learn really well throughout their time at our school.
Yes, because they had fantastic results. Last year's 2021 class had an average of 38 points, which is extremely high, given that the world average is 33 points. What do you feel are reasons for this success?
So I think a very big part of the success has to do with the work that the teachers do creating this environment in which students feel so supported. But it also has to do with the fact that so many of our teachers are a part of the IB education network, which means that many of them are the people who actually write the IB curricula, or they're the people who write the assessments, or they're the people who grade the assessments. So these are people who really intimately know what they're doing in terms of the IB curriculum. And so it's no surprise then that they can support students to do very well in that program and to achieve success by the end of it.
Yeah, because the support they needed as much as possible when we had the pandemic, of course, as well. MIS has been very successful in supporting the students, but could you let us know what was it that MIS did that really supported the children so well?
Sure. Well, I think that our success in managing the pandemic had a lot to do with what teachers were already doing before the pandemic. So they had already established with the students what the expectations are. So then when they had to pivot, for example, to distance learning, the kids already knew what to expect. They knew the purpose of their learning. They already had routines in place. And so when you then have to shift to a different format, that all works quite well when teachers have so masterfully set that all up. Additionally, our teachers generally tend to be very technically savvy, which means that when they then started to have to work with brand new platforms and brand new technology, they were quite good at learning that quickly, putting it to use for the students. And because they really understand what students need in terms of learning, they could very quickly be purposeful about the use of those technologies, those platforms, and support the kids even at home to continue their learning. So we're really proud of the way that our teachers did that, supported the students. We had to go into distance instruction during 2 different times in the past 2 years. And then aside from that, there were times where we had to do hybrid education, meaning that there were students who were live in the classroom, others who were at home, and the teachers had to balance having some students virtually with them while others were physically with them, which is incredibly challenging, but the teachers handled it really well.
Yeah, that sounds like MIS is a special place, but is there anything else, and how is MIS different from other schools?
Yeah, well, I think there are a number of things that make MIS quite special. One of them is our location. So we're really privileged to be on a nature preserve here with a view of the mountains not very far away. This allows teachers to take kids outside and use the outdoor spaces that we have. So we have some outdoor classroom spaces. We have woods that come right up to the campus. This allows us to engage with nature, which is really something that's quite special. And we also are very privileged to have teachers from around the world who really want to be in this place. And so there are a lot of people who want to be a part of Munich International School, who are very proud to be a part of the school, and who put a lot of effort into making the experience for students really positive and really effective.
Great. Thanks so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
And action.
Hello, my name is Vivi. I'm 13 years old. I'm in 7B, and I'm half Brazilian and half German.
Hi, my name is Vicky, and I'm Vivi's twin sister. I go to 7E, and this is our 8th year here at MIS.
Today we will be introducing you to the MIS Middle School.
What does holistic learning mean, and how is it relating to cooking?
Holistic learning in design means that students are academically, socially and emotionally taken care of in their learning here in the kitchen. We put a huge emphasis on self-directed learning, so students can determine what they like to do themselves. We give them a topic, so for instance here in grade 7 we're looking at healthy snacks and packaging. So the students have researched and they have used their critical thinking and their creative thinking to come up with some new ideas for healthy snacks, and they're prototyping them here in the kitchen today.
Why is holistic learning much more efficient than normal conventional teaching methods?
Holistic learning is better for all students and for teachers. There's a certain trust that's needed in the classroom, but there's also a certain relationship building that's really important for students. Students feel that it's okay not to succeed perfectly. It's okay to try again. It's okay to prototype. For us, holistic learning is a method where students actually feel engaged and excited, and I think that's better for students than teaching from the top down. Students are actually able to make real-life connections, and students are actually using the skills that they need for the future.
Thank you so much for taking your time and doing this interview with us.
You are most welcome. It was lovely to see you this morning.
The Besides academic success, one of the most important things at the school is the well-being of our students.
Therefore, our school has a mindfulness program led by Miss Breeze, who we'll be meeting now.
Miss Breeze, can you explain to us what the MIS knows about teaching and practicing mindfulness?
Mindfulness at MIS is all about building up our inner resources. We learn how to manage our own emotions, we learn how to control our focus and attention, and to cultivate empathy with others.
Why is it important to teach mindfulness to us students?
Well, I started practicing mindfulness many years ago, and I felt stronger because of it. I felt more stress resistant. I felt generally happier because it allowed me to really be in the present moment, enjoying where I am, what I'm doing, who I'm with, without having a cluttered mind, which is going to cause me stress and loss of focus. And I realized that if I had learned those skills as a child, my youth would have looked a lot different. So these are skills that, especially nowadays, in a world that is much more complicated than it used to be, these are skills that I want to pass on to the younger generation.
Thank you so much for doing this interview with us.
It was a great pleasure for me.
Now we will be interviewing Gia, one of our fellow classmates, about after-school activities. Gia, what is your favorite after-school activity and why?
My favorite after-school activity here is soccer because we get to do a lot of fun sports and we get to hang out with our friends and learn a lot of new tricks, and we get to have fun and win on all our tournaments.
What was your favorite experience at the school so far?
My favorite experience is sports day because we get to do a lot of sports and there's a lot of activities and it's really fun when we win and everything like that, and overall it's just really fun.
What other after-school activities are there?
There's cooking and chess and CrossFit, tennis, and there's other sports and other fun clubs that you could do.
Thank you, Gia, for letting us interview you for today, and I hope you guys can also meet her because she's a great person. And thank you for this. High five.
We hope you enjoyed our tour.
Make sure to ask for Vivi and Vicky because we would love to meet you and show us around our beautiful campus.
See you soon.
Bye!
Welcome everyone from wherever you are in the world. We're here on campus, but we look forward to potentially meeting you sometime soon. I'm Michelle Yuhas, the middle school principal here at MIS, and I've had the pleasure of being here for 5 years. During my time here, it's been very exciting. There's been a lot of growth and a lot of growth to come. I've also lived in Guatemala City, Frankfurt, Tokyo, Lima, Peru, and now happily here in Munich. I have a husband who also is a teacher here in 4th grade. I have a daughter who's in 10th grade, and my son graduated last year from MIS. I am Canadian, but really feel like a citizen of the world. I today am joined here with Michelle Healy, but before I get into interviewing some of our teachers and a student, I thought I'd give you a little bit of an overview of more specifically what happens in the middle school for your child's learning. So in grade 5, this is considered a transition year. Students go from grade 4 in our elementary junior school and come to the middle school. And we know that this takes a little bit of extra care. And so students are with one teacher for most of the day for subjects in humanities, English, math, and science. And then they go to specialist teachers for physical education, German, English language learning. They also go for the arts. And in the arts, we have drama, we have music, and we have visual art for our students. Another really interesting and new class for many of our students is design, and we'll hear a little bit more about that in a moment. Then in grades 6, 7, and 8, students have a little more choice, where they have the opportunity to take another language. And so this language might be either Mandarin, Spanish, or French. And we're adding new electives as years go by that students may be interested in taking, like journalism. So we'll learn a little bit more about the courses that we offer, but I think something that parents often ask is, what is it like for students in the middle school? And one thing that I can say for sure is that it is important that students understand content and know things. But in our middle school, we ask students to apply what they know through communication, but also through applying it to real-world situations. We do have an English language learning program, so we do have students who start with very little English language experience, and we also serve those students who have been speaking English their whole school career. We also have students who begin here with high level of proficiency in German and absolute beginners in German, and all of our students are served very well through our program. So let's start chatting with Michelle Healy. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your role here at MIS?
Absolutely, Michelle. Thank you. Thank you for asking me to be here today to join you. So my name is Michelle. I work in the middle school. I work with grades 5, 6, 7 and 8. I am the interdisciplinary coordinator in the middle school, and I am a design teacher, and I'm also a homeroom teacher to grade 7. So for my role in the middle school as a design teacher, students are given the opportunity to look at problems, looking at problems to find solutions, and they are expected to look at the solution in a new way. In design, we encourage them to go out, find solutions, encourage them to think critically about what they're doing, to think creatively. And in design, we have many different ways that we approach our subject, and one of the ways is to go and actually look through the lens of food, look through the lens of robotics, go to the workshop to create things. So I absolutely love being a design teacher because by nature I like to get creative and I like to get my hands into things. So when the students come to me, whether I'm working with them in the workshop with wood or whether I'm working with food, it's my passion to see innovative solutions coming through, and I think it's very important for the students to see that as well from their teachers. As a person, I like to be artistic and creative, and I like to pass that on to my students. I'm Irish. I've been working at the school since 2004. I've married a German man, so I'm half German, I think, by now as well. So I have a mixture of cultures coming in, and I absolutely love being at the school, and that's why I've chosen to stay at MIS. I'm very happy to be a homeroom teacher because I love connecting with the kids in the morning. I love seeing them coming into school, getting excited about their school day, and I really love being a part of the middle school because there's a kind of a vibrancy about it. The students are full of enthusiasm and really ready to get active. So that's who I am.
Thank you. Could you tell us a little bit about your role as the Interdisciplinary Unit Coordinator?
So I took on the role of Interdisciplinary Coordinator a few years ago, maybe 3, I think, 2. I was very excited to get involved in interdisciplinary work because it allows the students to actually look at a subject and see it from different perspectives. So, for instance, we would take a topic such as sustainability. And for instance, in grade 5, we have a unit where they go to math and they learn about scale. They learn about how to measure. And then they come to me in design and they look at the same topic of sustainability in design, but we're looking at the measurement, we're looking at how to use scale while we're making a model. So the students actually have an absolutely fantastic project in grade 5 where they make a model tiny house. And a few months ago we went off and we spent a whole day sitting, learning, looking in a tiny house, living in a tiny house. And the students had the opportunity to be there, to do their primary research, to actually take out their measuring sticks and rulers. And they were looking at what was good about this tiny house, what could be better. And when they came back, they worked with their math teachers and with us in design. and we created model tiny houses that the students could develop themselves. And it was the coolest thing to see their ideas, because we encouraged them to think, again, thinking critically but also thinking creatively. And to see them getting involved, coming up with their own ideas, was absolutely magical to watch them. So we're looking forward to their exhibition day very soon. So that's one of the projects. It's basically about getting two disciplines, looking at a subject or a topic rather from those two disciplines and synthesizing the work, bringing it together as you would do in the real world. And I think that's what really excites the kids, that this is real world stuff. This is like being an architect who needs to understand the math, needs to understand the design concepts, and they really feel excited by the fact that this is something real that they can get their teeth into. So it's a kind of a cool project, but that's only one project. Every year the students get involved in one of these interdisciplinary projects, which is a big project for them, and they really enjoy it because we try to make it creative and hands-on. So that's just the 5th grade one.
Thanks so much. And tell me a little bit, the interdisciplinary unit is an opportunity for students to really own their own learning, to engage their mind, their head, use their hands and their heart. And that's really what we try to do every day. How would you describe the average middle school student's day at MIS?
The average middle school student's day, I think, is full of opportunity to self-direct. I think that's very important for us in the middle school, that we give the opportunities to students to decide where they're going with the learning themselves. I think that's important. When I look at them in the interdisciplinary work, I can see teachers encouraging students to take their project where they want to go. And I see it in other subjects as well, with their English teachers, with their math projects, and you'll hear more about that later on. But I think it's a real place where learning is a joy. And that's what we want to see in our students in the classroom, where it's lovely to see students running in and saying, what are we doing today? What are we going to get to do today? And it's not about me telling them what we're doing, but they're focusing on, today I need to do this, I need to get this achieved today. So it's important for me in the school day to see that the students are actually developing their skills, they're creative thinkers, they're critical thinkers, but that they're actually developing their skills for research, they're developing their social skills with others in a team, they're getting a chance to develop their communication skills. So I think that's very important in the middle school. Their day is very varied, they're up, they're moving, they're sitting. It's a very great variety of a day, I think. It's a busy day. They are busy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Michelle.
You're very welcome. Thank you for asking me.
Hello again. I have the pleasure of us having you spend some time with one of our math teachers, Mr. Amaranti. And would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah. So my name is Will Amaranti. This is my 2nd year here at MIS. I am a math teacher in both the middle school and in the senior school. So I teach grades 6, 9, 11, and 12. So I kind of see a lot of different students throughout my day. But I'm also a 6th grade homeroom teacher, a 6th grade ethics teacher, and yeah, I'm from the United States, and now I live in Germany, but yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about how math is taught here so that our families at home can have a better idea of what to expect.
Yeah, so I think a little earlier, Tim mentioned the IB program and that we run that throughout the entire school. And so in middle school, we run this middle years program, or what we call the MYP. And so we have a very creative and expansive mathematical curriculum. What I really love about it is that students are spending a lot of time exploring. They're taking a lot of their class time to engage with difficult topics in mathematics, but through the lens of discovery and being able to really get their hands on these mathematical topics instead of just kind of getting a rule and spitting it back out. We certainly dive deep into content, and students are still learning those really important math skills, but they're just doing it in a lot of variety of different ways. And you know, one class day tends not to look the same as the other class day. And so that variety is something that I think students really thrive on and love.
So one of the things that students always get nervous about is the math test.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about how math is assessed and what students experience in terms of how do we know where they are with their learning in math?
Yeah, so the math test certainly exists, but I hope our students at our school, and I believe that if you talked with them, they would feel that that anxiety might not be there as much because of the way that we assess. And so the way that we assess, we have 4 different criteria that we assess upon. We have one that is checking for understanding, which is kind of what you would think of as your traditional math test. A little bit of you've learned a skill, can you demonstrate that skill in a written test? But then we also have a unique one called patterning, which is all about students recognizing patterns and generalizing patterns, not only in mathematics, but in the real world. Pattern recognition is something that we really like to set our students up with because it becomes a very valuable skill. And then we have another criterion that's all about communication. So math is wonderful. I love math, but if you can't communicate your math to anybody, it's pointless, right? So if you don't have the ability to, you know, explain why this works or how this works, it's not going to have much merit. And so that's the big focus on that one, is giving students the language, the skills, the abilities to just really communicate the math that they're doing. And the last one is assessing them on their kind of real world application skills. So can they take the skills that we've taught them, this kind of pure mathematics, and apply it to something that is practical, that is useful, that they could end up doing outside of just the classroom.
Well, that's great. This is very different than the math class that I experienced as a middle school, that's for sure. You also mentioned that you're an ethics teacher. Tell me a little bit about what that class is for our students.
Yeah, so ethics is a really unique subject that we have for not only our middle school, but our senior school as well. But in our middle school, it focuses a lot on, it kind of touches a lot of different things. A big element of it is social emotional learning. And so students are focusing on skills that help them in their life, not only in the classroom, but outside of it. A big piece of it is we have a mindfulness program that is very heavily involved in our ethics curriculum. And then we're also learning about things called the ATL skills, which stands for Approaches to Learning. And those are the skills that help students with ideas of communication, being social, doing research, kind of all these skills that apply to all their subjects in school, but again, apply to more than just the classroom. And that's really what we're trying to do in that ethics lesson, is see students as more than just their subject class, is to really see them as a whole student, and a chance for students to really kind of just dive into those topics that normally wouldn't show up in a regular classroom.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us here
of course.
today.
Thank you.
I'm really happy to introduce you to David, who's joining us here today. He's taking a brief break from his classes and his lunchtime to be here with us. And I'd like to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself to us.
Yes, my name is David, and I'm in grade 8. I've been here for 4 years now, and I really enjoyed the learning, and yeah.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about the school where you were before.
So before I was at a Grundschule in Grünwald, and there were many different types of learning. We had to like learn on paper or on different methods, but we couldn't interact with other people as well as we could here.
Okay, so you came in grade 4 and then you moved to grade 5, obviously. Tell me a little bit about what that experience was like for you.
So that experience was made easier for me because I found friends here really fast, which helped me to learn English better, and that interacted me like with other people, and I could learn more friends, and that made a way easier life in school.
Yes, so when you came to MIS, you were in the English language learning program. Tell me a little bit about what that class and what kind of help and support you got in learning to speak English as fluently as you do now.
So in English, we were with like groups of 4 that all couldn't really speak English, and then together we focused on our communicating skills in English, and we read books together, or the most fun part was to watch movies together, like in English. Yeah, and we learned English doing that.
So how do you feel in the regular classroom now with all of your classmates?
I really like it because, for example, in science, we do activities which include like going outside and doing a scale or something, or doing experiments with groups.
Okay, so tell me what your favorite class is at the moment.
So I like supervised studies because we get to catch up with work that we didn't done, and it's like an extra help because teachers can help us with work we don't understand, and it's just like a free class where we can catch up on a lesson what we need help with.
Okay. And what kinds of activities do you get involved with outside of the regular school day?
So because we have big recess, we have like 1 hour recess approximately, and it's always fun to hang out with friends and play football or soccer with them because you get to stick together and then learn better.
Okay. How would you describe the regular school day for families at home that are really trying to have a student perspective on the school day? How would you describe it?
So you come in homeroom and then you watch the daily slideshow of the activities that are prepared for the next week or the next month, and you do a test in these days, and then you just go off to the first lesson. Then you have always 2 lessons and then a 20 to 30 minutes break. Then you have another lesson. Then you go off to the big break, which is 55 minutes, and you can eat 20 minutes of it, I think, and have 35 minutes to hang around with friends and play together in recess.
And what does the afternoon look like?
The afternoon is always 3 lessons, and then you get to go home.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
One last thing. We have this athletics fitness and athletics building coming.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I'm really excited because PE is, I think, the most fun lesson in the school because you have different activities and you have such a great campus. I say it's such big, you can do so much sports and activities, and with a great and bigger gym now, I think you can have even more fun.
So for all of you at home, please feel free to look at the link in the chat to learn more about our fitness and athletics building. We're very excited about this new addition to our campus, which will be ready to go for us in August.
International School, a unique place that embodies versatility in countless ways. Here, 1,200 students from 65 countries learn and explore new things every day. Led by our highly competent and committed teachers and other staff members, with 27 nationalities between them, who do their very best to make learning an enjoyable experience. A holistic learning approach is what we strive for, and it's the key to our excellent academic results. With an IB diploma average score of 38 out of 45 points, our graduates are among the top students worldwide. Last year, every single student managed to pass the International Baccalaureate, an international graduation certificate that enables them to study at almost all universities worldwide. Academic pursuits are important, but certainly not the only thing we focus on during the school day. All our students develop their talents and skills in all kinds of after-school activities. Additionally, a network of dedicated parents supports the school by organising events and helping new families become part of a vibrant and strong community. Together, we are MIS. And we have a mission: to nurture, to challenge, and to inspire.
We have now come to the Q&A part of our session today, and so we are delighted to answer as many questions that you have posted on our chats as possible. So we'll start with one of the first ones. Let me see if I can read this properly. Can one child switch whenever from regular school to yours? How far in advance do we need to apply?
Okay, I'll let you answer the application question, but we are really used to students transitioning to our school, so with a variety of needs and language abilities. So I think that transitions are something we do quite well in the sense that we have a program for all new students who come into the school that almost works like clockwork when students come. So if your child comes during the orientation day, it's almost like a festival on campus where students can learn about all the activities they can do. They learn about our curriculum, they get to know the campus, and it's really hosted by our students who walk around in T-shirts that identify them as ambassadors for MIS. So we also do one-on-one tours for students who come halfway through the year. But I think the most important element here at MIS is that we assign a buddy to each individual student to make sure that there is always someone that a student who's new to the school can ask for help, or who will notice when they need help and just help to make it happen and make them feel comfortable on campus. So we're really used to this transition time, and we evaluate, for example, children's English language ability so they're placed correctly in the right class. And we also do the same thing for German. We have a number of students who come from the German community, and we want to make sure that their German language ability is developing as well.
Yeah. Just perhaps from an admissions perspective, so we welcome families at any point during the year. So the largest group probably comes in August, where we have about 200 students starting at MIS. And then during the year, somewhere between 40 to 90. We have had one year where we had 90 students start during the year, any time from after August till the last student we had, I believe, was in June last year. So we're very open and very flexible. Given that we're an international school, we really know that there's needs for families sometimes to change at any point in time. And so we are delighted to receive an application at any point. Yeah. So how much time do students in middle school spend outside during the regular school day? How many breaks or recess do they have during the day, and for how long?
Okay, so our regular school day starts at 9:10, and the final bell rings at 5 after 4. And so this is a long school day for our students, but we adjust and we adapt. And so our students have a morning break that's 20 minutes and a lunchtime break that lasts almost an hour. And our students are very active because of the facilities we have available. Our students really are very active and running around a lot. But our students also move from one class to another to different buildings. And so this is an opportunity for our students to really leave the classroom, go to another building, have a conversation with their friend, go to the bathroom, and just take care of what they need to take care of before the next class begins. So there's a lot of formal break time, but then there's also this passing time that actually does get the students moving before they go to their next class.
The next question is, can students in 5th grade begin to take Spanish if they've had Spanish lessons previously?
So in grade 5, we do not have a Spanish language program that is done during the regular school day through MIS teachers. However, we do have a program where students who have learned a language before, or a language that is really familiar to them, maybe one of their parents speaks this language, or they've lived in a country where they've learned this language in greater detail, we have a program where we can help to arrange tutors in that language for the family. This is something that works really well for our very mobile families who would like to keep their home language going for as long as they can at a higher level.
Great. So the next question is, besides PE, do students have swimming classes or some other exercise class during the school day?
So PE is our active time. That is really where we have a curriculum that supports all kinds of movement abilities, including dance, gymnastics. Our students are doing all kinds of ball sports, also and the sports that are in our athletics program. So we have a very active athletics program after school. Our PE program helps to support some of those after-school activities, but we also really encourage students to get involved outside of school as well. But during the PE program, we haven't started a swimming program yet, but it is something that we're looking at for grade 5 in the very near future.
Great. So how are different learning styles accommodated in the classroom?
So we have an approach where we know that we have students who learn differently, who have come from different school systems, who have different language needs and abilities. We also have students with identified learning needs. And so we're aware of this and we have to be flexible. And this is the way we operate. So many of our teachers will differentiate. Our students also have a great deal of choice. So when there is an assignment given for an assessment, the students can oftentimes have a choice in how they approach that project so that they can build, work toward their strengths rather than really trying to, have something that doesn't work for them. So we also use an approach called Universal Design for Learning, and where we try to make sure that we're accessing and making learning possible for every student in the class. We have learning support teachers and EAL teachers that push into the classroom so that there's team teaching going on in the classroom. So there's multiple ways that we seek to meet the needs of every student in the classroom.
And in terms of students that, let's say, are highly able, how do you go about these students, and is there extra support for them as well?
Yeah, so like anytime there's an assignment given, there's stretch, medium, we call it spicy, a spicy approach, mild approach, where the students can choose their level of challenge. And this is true, the most recent example of that I've seen is in a math classroom, where students can really choose to be at that higher level, that really challenging level. And sometimes teachers need to encourage students to work at that higher level. Rather than having them working within this level of comfort, we really want students outside of their comfort zone and really trying new things.
Great. Let's see, next question up is, do you offer robotics, coding, programming classes in middle school?
So we do. We have a design class, and part of the design class is robotics. So our students have opportunities to work with Lego robotics now, but we also have some other robots that are now being added to our collection of robotics equipment. There's obviously some coding that goes along with that, but I think down the road as we look at our strategic plan, I think there'll be even more opportunities for coding to be embedded in a lot of the things that we do every day. We have a class that's called Digital Life, and it helps our students to understand the role of technology in their lives and helps them to be able to use their devices really efficiently and really well, and so that they're not just consumers of technology. We really want our students to be producers. And so this is where coding comes in. All of our students in the middle school have access to technology, and our students are using iPads with the integrated keyboard and the pen. And the reason we use this device is so that students really have independent use of their devices so that they can take pictures, they can draw, they can embed videos a lot easier. So we really want students to be producers and really engaging with their technology.
Yeah. And I believe also in after-school activities, there's some really
Yes.
cool technology-driven activities like Dungeons and Dragons. I found
Yes,
this year was
exactly.
very popular. Lego Minecraft, and
Yes.
so there's many things for parents and for
Yeah.
children to try out.
And very recently, we had many of our students taking a trip off campus to be able to visit a robotics demonstration and see how we can, as a school, develop a relationship with this corporation to see how we can learn from each other.
Yeah, great. What types of support services are available for students who might struggle in a subject?
So this is something that we're familiar with. We will often do pre-testing to see how students manage with the material that's being taught in the classroom. And so teachers can very early on see signs of a struggling student. And there's lots of resources for our teachers here to access, one being specialists. We have 3 learning support specialists in the middle school for all of our 4 grade levels. So this is a great privilege for us. And so these are teachers that are a resource, but also work with our teachers in collaborating in how to make the units that we're teaching as accessible to all of the students that we can. And so there's a teacher that might push into that lesson and work one-on-one with a student, a struggling student, for example, and then there's always communication with parents. So if parents say, my child's struggling with this particular unit, the teacher and the parent will often have a discussion about how the school can support the child as well.
Is it possible for a student who has graduated from MIS with an IB diploma to study at a German university?
Yes, it's absolutely possible. We have many students who do that. My son graduated last year, and there were many students who walked across the stage who did and are attending German universities. Some choose to go to those German universities, some choose to go abroad in North America or the UK or other places in Europe. But yeah, for example, Technical University of Munich is often one that I hear very often that students go to. So yes, it's definitely possible.
Great. How does MIS support students who transfer from a German public school to a non-IB school?
That's a really good question because it's something that has been strengthened over the last 5 years, I think. That we realize and we don't expect students to know and understand how the IB operates. So we just assume that students don't know and educate the students and give them workshops on how the assessment works. If your child is coming in grade 5, all the students are learning the MYP at the same time. So your child isn't technically behind, right? So they're all learning together because it's a new curriculum for everyone. So this is what's great about that grade 5 cohort. But if your child comes in grade 8, we do the same thing. We do workshops for children who are coming, for example, from the German system and coming to our school. And from my experience, students are delighted with the range of opportunities for them to show their understanding and their learning. As was explained earlier, there's 4 criteria that students are assessed on, and it gives students more opportunities for them to show what they know and understand.
Great. How do children adjust to the long day?
This is a really common question, and I remember a few years ago there was a family that was considering bringing their child here who had come from the German system, and we were sitting together in the lobby of the middle school, and it was the afternoon, it was 3 p.m., and the parent had said that they were surprised at the energy of the students because at that time they were changing classes, and so the students were walking around, and she remarked that, I'm surprised they're not tired, and they seem to be very energetic at this time. And it's true. Maybe in the first week or 2, the students need time to adjust, but I don't feel that our students find it a particularly long day. In fact, a lot of our students stay beyond 4 o'clock and participate in our after-school activities programs, which includes all kinds of sport activities. Like for example, right now we have a downhill ski team, and we have a basketball happening right now, and swimming. Or they might be doing some after-school activities. You mentioned Dungeons and Dragons, but we have tree climbing. We have a nature activity where students go into the forest and hike and learn outdoor skills. But there might be creative writing, or there might be ceramics. So it gets students the opportunity to be able to expand on what they're doing in their regular classes, and just enjoy school in a different way. So it is a longer day, there's no question, but a lot of those activities that students in German schools often go elsewhere to do are right here on campus for our families.
Great. Which languages are taught in middle school?
So the 2 primary languages that are taught are English and German, of course, and we have absolute beginners of German. We have students who have had some experience in German, and the same goes for English. So we cater to all the needs of those 2 languages. So those have the most resources. In grade 6, students can choose Mandarin, Spanish, or French. And those languages are taught at a beginner level. So if your child is at an advanced level, then you'll definitely want to get in contact with our coordinator of home languages, who will arrange for tutors to be able to work with your child to develop that language.
Great. The school we are at now has a strong parent-teacher organization. Is there something similar at MIS?
Yes, we have a parent-teacher verein, and they have representatives in each grade level that feed back to me. So there's a lot of events in our school that we have at regular intervals throughout the year for parents to be engaged. It's been a little less now that we've had COVID, but even just last week I had a video conference with the representatives from each grade level where we talked about how things are going for parents at home. We talked about how things are going on campus, what are we seeing, and how are students reacting to this full-time learning environment. Last year, sometimes we were off campus, and so there's been a lot of adjustments over the last 2 years, and we've really felt a commitment to stay in contact with our parent community. But our parents really are ready to go back to these nice big events that we have here on campus. And I have a feeling very soon we'll be getting back to those again.
Yeah, we hope so. Because normally we have the Frühlingsfest and the Winterfest where the whole community gets together and we have the opportunity to try yummy Japanese food, for example. And there's different kinds of talent shows and concerts and so on. So
there's other opportunities for parents to connect here on campus about their child's learning too. We have 2 opportunities for parents to have parent conferences with all of their child's teachers as well. Even though we have these more formal events, parents can always contact their child's teacher at any time. And then the PTV is another layer of parent social involvement that's outside of academics, where they can connect with each other in the areas where they live. And also we have nationality groups as well, so that you can feel like you're staying connected with your home country.
Yeah. Great. What is your policy regarding digital devices or mobile phones?
Yes, so we do need a policy because our goal is to achieve a balance. And so during the distance learning time, we were really dedicated to having this online platform ready for our students for learning. So we've been really dedicated to that. And now that we're fully on campus, we're really dedicated to a balance of technology use. So we're still dedicated to writing things on paper, engaging in group projects where the iPad can be involved, but really it's not the focus. So we're really trying to find a balance. But in terms of cell phones, we know that students sometimes need them for communication home, but we do not allow cell phones to be out in the classroom or to be used during breaks or lunchtime. It needs to be tucked away either in their locker or in their backpack. We're pretty strict about that one. We think there's a time and a place for that, but not during school hours. And then for use in the classroom, the students don't take out their technology until the teacher is in the classroom. and when the teacher has asked them to take out the technology. So the students don't assume that technology is going to be part of every single lesson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, that's interesting. Good. How do I apply to MIS? So that's probably a question for me, I would assume. So on our website, you'll find our application information. So first of all, we would ask you to read through what are the requirements actually that we ask from you to upload to the website before you submit an application. So once that's done, once you've submitted the application, uploaded all the documents, then we write back to you if everything is complete or if there's perhaps something that we would like you to send in additionally. And then once that's all finalized and everything is complete, then it's sent to, for example, Ms. Yuhas for review. And then we will write back to you within 2 work weeks after an application is completed. So I think maybe we've come to the end of our session today. If you have any other questions, then please feel free to contact us in the admissions office. Julie, Denise and I work there, and we have a lot of experience, both professionally as well as personally, because our children have or are still at the school. And so therefore, yeah, we from both perspectives, we will be able to give you a lot of information. We do appreciate that selecting the right school for your child is an important decision, and therefore we hope that today's session has been able to provide you with some information that helps you make a decision. But if there's anything else, then please let us know and we'll be happy to help. Thank you so much for joining us today in our session, and we look forward to meeting you sometime here at MIS in person. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.